What's up, bikers? It's Ryan here. We're going to compare the two top rated bike racks today, the KUAT NV 2.0 and the 1UP rack. We're going to see which one's the best for which purpose. I have a Tesla Model Y, so I'm going to compare to see these two, which one fits better for the car and for my needs. First off, we'll go over mounting the rack to the hitch. They are both fairly similar and easy. They both have a ball locking mechanism to reduce the amount of shaking, and they both have a pin lock for extra safety. Previously, the 1UP did not have this function. The ball mechanism is tightened on the 1UP using a proprietary hex key. The KUAT is tightened using this rubber knob. Both racks stays on pretty securely without shaking. Loading the bike on both racks are pretty simple since they're both platform racks. The 1UP secures the bike by swinging these arms on both the front and rear tires. It uses this ratcheting system to secure both tires firmly. To unload the bike, you pull this red knob and swing the arms away, one at a time. I notice that the red bar here is very mechanical. You have to get it precise to move, otherwise it gets stuck on these teeth. Also, it does get a little hard to balance the bike and swing the arms at the same time, since you need two hands to unlock and swing the rack. Depending how big your bike is, you can open the rear completely and loosen the front a little and just slide the bike backwards instead of opening both arms. Loading the bike on the KUAT is as simple as putting the bike on the platform and swinging the front tire arm over. You press down firmly to secure the tire, and then you pull the ratcheting style tie down on the rear. The KUAT feels like it secures the bike down a little better than the 1UP, as there isn't as much give. The 1UP does not have a lock included with the rack. You can purchase these extra lock that goes into the rack and between the tires. These do help lock up the bike and make it a little harder to steal. The lock itself isn't that great of a quality. It looks fairly thin and cheap. It does feel like it is metal, but it probably isn't made in America like the rack advertises. Operating the tilt feature is all done with this bar underneath the rack. You pull it up and then you can adjust the tilt settings. There are 3 settings you can use: 1 fully closed, 2 partially closed, and 3 fully open. It is a little hard to get the bar to pull up evenly at times. The bar has to almost be completely even before you can pull it up, otherwise it gets stuck. Sometimes you have to wiggle the rack a little to get the groove to fit evenly and free the bar. It's even more difficult when you have the bike on the rack and you need to lift it up a tad. On the Model Y, you can see that fully closed is almost touching the car. There's maybe 1 millimeter of space between the rack and the car. It's probably going to hit the car when you're driving around. The KUAT has an included cable lock built right into the rack. It's pretty easy to use and very flexible. This is more of a deterrent than protecting the bike. It's just a cable lock that could easily be cut off with some wire cutters. There are 2 tilt settings, fully open or fully closed. The tilt feature on the KUAT is amazing. It's very easily accessible in both the fold position as well as the open position. Unlike the 1UP, there's never any struggles to pull the lever. It never gets stuck, nor does it not have to be precise. Reaching for the lock while the bikes are on it is fairly simple since the knob is also on the top. The 1UP is a very raw product. There's nothing fancy about it. The black one I have is very thinly painted, and I already have scratches on it. All the mechanisms like the tilt feature and the arms are very raw. There's no fluff at all. The KUAT is very well built. It has a nice thick coating of paint. The tilt arms are smooth and very functional. Every metal piece here feels strong and sturdy. Comparing the pin lock, you can see here that the 1UP is a lot thinner and more scrawny looking. The KUAT here is very thick and something you'd see in most pins for the hitches. Even the lock looks a lot more durable and secure than the 1UP. The 1UP lock looks very cheap and not secure at all. The overall looks is arbitrary to your liking. I think 1UP's overall design is a little cleaner and nicer. It's not as bulky as the KUAT. The one-up has a stadium-style design where one of the bikes is a tad taller than the other to avoid touching each other. The KUAT went with the route of making the rack longer to avoid touching each other. This unfortunately makes the rack a lot bigger and bulkier. As you can see here, the KUAT's smallest size is pretty big. The one-up can be folded into a very small form factor for storage. While we're talking on storage, let's talk about the one-up folding feature. It's a great idea to be able to fold it into such a small size, but it's not very practical. You can't fold the rack up while the rack is on the car. You need to first take it off and lay it on the ground somewhere and fold it up. And this is not easy. The fold up is very firm. Because the one-up has a more open design, you can also use an external lock to lock up your bike for more safety. There's no place on the KUAT to do this. So which rack is better for you? I think, both racks are really good racks. I don't think you have to ever worry about a bike falling off the rack, while you're driving on the freeway or anything. They're in a similar price range, so you kind of really have to choose what works best for your needs. In my opinion, I think the KUAT rack is a really well-built, refined rack. It has really smooth functionality and it just operates a lot smoother. It's good for you're trying to just go from point A to point B. You don't have to worry about locking the bike because it doesn't have that much of a locking feature. The one-up is good, when you want to travel. I think if you want to lock your bike on something while you go into the grocery store or the restaurant or the bar, it's a great rack. There's multiple locking mechanisms. You can add an external lock on there. And then if you see yourself taking the rack off your car a lot and you have a small garage, I think the one-up wins there as well, because it's able to fold into such a small, compact, size. The KUAT is really big, so you have a small garage or you like taking off the rack a lot, do take that in consideration. The one-up does fold up smaller. Even if you don't fold it to its minimum size, just the size it is like this, it's still smaller than the KUAT. So just keep that in mind and pick the one that's best for you. Hope you enjoyed the comparison. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.